Hey, what's up guys? Sloth King here. So today I am at the storage unit with the Supra. So a lot of you may know. If you don't, here's a quick overview. I took the Supra out for a drive the other day and I completely lost all oil pressure on my way back. I don't know what happened and it just sucks. I posted it on my Instagram and a lot of you commented, and thanks for reaching out. That was really cool of you guys. Glad you're keeping up on this stuff. So yeah, it really sucks, and I'm not too sure what happened. If you guys didn't see the video, I did take some footage on my phone, so I'm gonna insert that right here just for a quick overview. I was just driving my Supra, and I just went out for a drive right after work, and my oil pressure just completely dumped out. There is zero oil pressure. It's probably like 2 psi, 3 psi. I'm not too sure what happened. Luckily I caught it, and the engine was only running for maybe 20-30 seconds at the most. I just pulled into some random like parking lot area, like I think it's like a school or something. So I'm waiting on my friend to give me a tow back to my storage unit. I'm literally 1 mile away from my storage unit, and I was just gonna drop it off, go home, do whatever after, eat some food. And yeah, so there's zero oil leaking underneath the car. Let me show you guys. Zero oil leaking. Nothing at all. I even double checked to see if I had any oil inside of the engine, and yes, I still have oil in it. I literally just did an oil change on this thing. I was just driving it and it was getting really good PSI, and yeah, it just went out. So it pretty much sucks. I did not hear any rod knock or anything like that, so luckily and hopefully the engine bearings are totally fine. I'm just going to show you guys real quick just so you can see for yourself that I have zero oil pressure. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to pop off my EFI fuse. This will prevent the vehicle. Oh no, there goes my fuse. Oh well, I don't need it anyway. That will prevent the vehicle from starting up. So let me show you guys. See, look at that, 2 psi. Nothing. Yeah, that sucks. All right, with that out of the way, you saw that there's like just a couple psi of oil pressure still left in the system. So I'm not too sure what happened. We're gonna find out. The sucky thing is, I have a car show to go to in just about a week, a little over a week, and I already got tickets. So you know what? This is gonna be a fun little challenge. Let's see if I can get the Supra running to get to the car show. Sounds pretty cool, right? So the first thing we're gonna do, we're just gonna go through and see what might have failed. Was it a sensor? Did an oil line break off? What's going on? Is there any oil left in the oil pan? So let's go ahead and dig in, and let's try to see what the heck is going on. And the point of this section entirely is if something similar happened to you guys and you don't know how to check everything, we're gonna go in, because when you lose oil pressure, a lot of things can happen. You can damage your rod bearings within a short amount of time. So once you lose all your oil pressure, you only have a thin film of oil left that's riding on your rod bearings, your main bearings for your crankshaft. And if there's zero oil there, you're just gonna start wearing out those bearings. You can get rod knock, and you're just gonna see a bunch of glitter in the oil, and that's not good. Sometimes, like if you catch it in time, like I did, I looked over, I saw it was 36 psi, looked straight, looked back over, it was 6 psi. And that's when you have to act really quick. So key off the ignition, try to pull over anywhere as quick as possible. The less time that crankshaft is rotating, the better, because that is the least amount of damage that can happen for your engine. But if you just keep it running and then you try to pull in somewhere, you can cause a lot of damage really quickly. So with that out of the way, this is going to be day one. All right, guys, so first things first, we're gonna go ahead and check out the oil. See how much oil is left in there. So the first thing that you guys wanna do is just see if you have any oil left inside of here. This is really hard to see. These older dipsticks on the 7M, they revised it in like 1990 or something like that. And they have a better one, but it's out of stock. It's discontinued, actually. So I just did an oil change on this. And this oil probably has like, I don't know, maybe 10 miles on it. And it still looks clear. It is up to here. I did put an extra quart in it because the 7M oil pan can take an extra quart. So I have 6 quarts total. Plus I did that because I have an extra bigger oil cooler and the lines are bigger, so I needed to make up the excess or the extra space that the oil system lost. So this looks good so far. I don't see anything glittery on here. It's really hard to tell. So we have oil still, which is, that's a good sign, kind of. Next visual inspection. Let's just see if there's like, I don't know, any kind of leaks down here or something. Because I did take off my oil cooler to drain out the excess oil that was inside of here. And, there's a little bit of oil pooled up on this top part. See right there? I wonder if some extra oil might leak that. Did this get loose or something? Well, if a line busted, then I would see oil dripping down here. As you guys can see, there's no oil on the ground. It's just some staining on the concrete. So if it was really leaking, then it would have sprayed everywhere, right? So that's another thing to check. So the next thing I want to check is to see if like maybe my sensor is bad, which the sensor, you guys really can't see it. It's like tucked up in here. Look at my flashlight. All right, it's pretty tricky. You guys know that I put an AEM oil pressure gauge on the Supra, and I kept the stock oil sensor as well. This is really tricky to see. I'm trying to see if like maybe the connector popped off on the sensor. You just never know with this kind of stuff. I might just need to pop off this this accordion hose so we can get better access. So if you give me a minute, I'll go ahead and pop this off and then we can visually inspect that plug down there. All right, guys, so I got the accordion hose off and I noticed something. So this right here, this goes to my power steering. This is like vacuum for the power steering. And it was resting up against my exhaust manifold. Now, don't pay attention to that paint coming off. I talked about that earlier. We're not going to talk about that right now. But yeah, so my vacuum hose was just laying on the exhaust manifold burning. So that's awesome. But visually looking, plug right here still seems to be fine, but I'm trying to remember where my connector was. All right. So let me get the flashlight out of my mouth. So this heat shielding did a good job for the connector. And I don't see that plug being damaged. I do see my boot on my stock gauge like kind of falling off, but it was still giving me a reading beforehand. Next thing I'm going to do, we're actually going to key on the ignition and see if there's like any pressure reading on my AEM sensor. Then we're going to plug it in to see if it's like trying to read something. All right, so let's go do that. All right, let's pop the key in and just put it on the on position. All right, so it's not sensing anything. All right, let's go plug that connector in. All right, that's connected. Now let's see if it tries to read something. All right, so it's reading a residual 2 PSI in the system. And it looks like my stock gauge is also trying to read something. Let me turn off the ignition, see if it goes down. All right, so it's going down a little bit. It's very slow. Okay, so this next thing that I'm going to do, I already did it when I had to pull over to the side of the road. What you normally do, you disconnect your fuel injector fuse and you try to crank over the ignition and it should build up pressure inside of the system. But when I did it, when I pulled off to the side of the road, it wasn't doing anything. Now, I don't know if I want, I guess I'll just go ahead and try to do that for you guys right here. But since it had very little oil pressure, I don't want to try to turn those bearings or have the crank turn if there's like zero oil on it. I don't want to damage those bearings anymore. But let me just show you what you guys would normally do. So on the Supra, you have an EFI fuse right here. You just go ahead, take it out, lay it there, crank over the engine for like 10 seconds. Usually you would see pressure try to build, but it wasn't. We can go ahead and do, just do a quick test, I guess. Yeah, let's just do it. Nothing. All right, so that leads me to believe that it is a bad oil pump. Everything that's checking out, we don't have any leaks, except for the residual oil around that fitting on my oil cooler. All right, so that's like the main stuff that you would diagnose to check to see if, like, you know, it's building pressure or anything like that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe the pickup tube broke off. We never know, because if it can't suck up oil, it can't do anything. So that's it for the diagnosing video. We're gonna have to, on day 2, we're gonna go in and we're gonna drain the oil and see if there's any glitter inside of it, any, like, you know, metal shavings. We're just gonna have to pull that oil pan, and to do that, I have to drop my front subframe. So this is gonna be a task to take on. All right, so this is where I'm gonna conclude this part of the video. Hopefully going through all of this stuff, if you guys had any kind of, like, you know, similar stuff with like other cars and you just lost oil pressure, try to go through this stuff, test everything out, you know, just follow along what I did here. Just use it on your own application. And let's try to get this Supra rolling. So if you guys like this video, go ahead, leave a like, subscribe to see more videos like these, and stay tuned for day 2 on when we're going to be tearing off this oil pan. So I'll see you in that video.